Hi, I'm Marcia Lehman, and I'm a Knox County Master Gardener. Today I'm at the home of another Master Gardener where we will be pruning a sweet shrub. Now, sweet shrub is the common name. The botanical name is Calycanthus floridus. And with the species floridus, we know that this is a native plant. You really want to use the botanical name because this is one of those shrubs that has a half a dozen common names. Sweet shrub, Carolina allspice, bubby bush, sweet Betsy, strawberry bush, and a whole bunch more depending on where you're located. So just to be sure that you're getting what you want, use the botanical name, Calycanthus floridus. This is a multi-stem shrub. It has its primary blooms in the spring, and they're just gorgeous. We put a picture of the bloom in the handout, and I'm standing here. The reason I'm holding on to this one is it has its primary blush of flowers in the spring, but then we'll periodically put out a few more blooms over the summer, and here is a bud that will open up, I don't know, maybe in the next 3 or 4, maybe a week. But they're just a gorgeous bloom, and when they first open, they are really aromatic. Day 2, day 3, they're less sweet, but the first day that they open is when they have the most aroma. So, enough on the flowers. I just really like the flowers on this shrub. They grow best in rich soil. They can grow in full sun to deep shade. Of course, how much sun or shade they get will also determine how big they get. They tend to get 6 to 12 feet tall. This one is not quite that tall yet. And they can get 6 to 10 feet wide. They have a tendency to sucker, so guess what? We're going to start working on the bottom and cleaning out checking to see if there are suckers and removing those if necessary. So we'll start at the bottom, work on any suckers. Then we'll look for any of the 4 Ds, dead, diseased, damaged, dysfunctional. And I don't see, on first glance, any dead material. I haven't seen any diseased. We may have some crossing branches in here for as thick as this has gotten. And then the dysfunctional includes, does it hang out over the pathway here? Is it starting to brush up against the house? And so we may take some things out just to address some dysfunctional branches. But basically they don't require a lot of pruning, and we prune by trimming back to a leaf node or a branch attachment, thinning for airflow and sunshine like so many other shrubs. So let's get started. I'm going to go down on the bottom and look for suckers and maybe clean out a couple things there. So I've taken a couple of bungee cords to pull up some of these low-hanging branches so you can get a view down in here at the base. And we said it has a tendency to sucker, so the first thing I'm going to do is take off some of these smaller suckers that are about 1/4 of an inch coming off of the main stem. This is a multi-stem shrub, and it has quite a few stems, so it doesn't really need any additional ones. That one you heard snap, that meant it was dead. But most of these are still alive. So I'm taking off little stems that are about 1/4 of an inch in diameter down here at the base. Because also a lot of these are trying to just grow out parallel to the ground. And with the monkey grass around here, great weed preventer, we don't need limbs growing down that low being moist a lot of the time. So I'm taking off some of these low-hanging things, which just add to the thickness in the plant. And I'm going to focus on that first. I still have a whole bunch to do, and I'm going to have to work my way around the plant. But basically, I haven't touched any of the major stems yet. I'm simply taking off new growth that's about 1/4 of an inch coming off those main stems very close to the ground. So we'll shut down the camera so I can finish cleaning this up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I know you can't see me, or can't see most of me, but you can still hear me. What we've done is we've cleaned out all those little, like 1/4 inch size growths coming off the base. And in the process of getting those out of the way, what we have found are the situation. We have just too many stems here, and here on the front we've got 3 that come out in very close quarters. One of those has got to go, and we'll get that after I can come out front and pull those apart. We also have that situation in the back, which you can't see, where we've got stems that are crossing. The interesting thing, we've got 2 sizable stems that are crossing, and then a third one that wants to grow between the 2 crossing ones. So the next thing I'm going to do is get out the long-handled loppers, and I may actually have to use my saw to get rid of at least one out of those clumps of 3 that are trying to grow together. So I'm going to shut off the camera while I make those cuts, and then we'll show you how we've cleaned that up. Okay, so I've taken out, here you can actually see a major cut that I made. Lots of little cuts. Back here, where my hand is another one that fortunately I got most of it, but I have probably a 2-inch stub, and that's more than I would like, but there's no way to get any tool in there to take it lower. Here's another one. And so I've taken everything out of the base that I'm going to take, and now we'll move up into some of these inner things that want to grow and cross back into the center. So again, we'll shut off the camera while I clean up the center middle of the shrub. We started at the base, took out suckers, took out a couple major crossing limbs. So now we'll move up into the plant. We have a little bit of dead material, but we're looking for stuff that wants to grow back into the center, and that's just not good for the health of the plant. So we'll shut off the camera again while we work on the center. It's for stuff that wants to grow back into the center, stuff that may be dead, and then we'll come back and give you another view. So I've now cleaned out low-lying and the middle. The final step is, you normally don't have to reduce height, but in this case we have a combination of things. We've got some long stems here that are brushing up against the house. And in this particular case, this one that I'm waving, when I look at it and say, well, where would I shorten it? The answer is all the way down at the ground, because there's no other significant branching in this. We have leaves coming off this stem. It's relatively new growth, but there's no branch on it. So this one's going to come off all the way at the ground. Because if you make a cut along this big long stem, it's going to do what crepe myrtles do and put out, 4 or 5 new branches from that cut. And we don't want that. So you can say we just shortened this, but what we really did was we got it off the house. So that was a dysfunctional. We've got another one back here, which actually does come off of a branch. So I don't have to take it all the way at the ground. And let me look at this one. This one has a good branch node. You can't see it, it's on the back side. So I'm going to cut it at a branch node. So that's now off the house. We have this one, if I uncross it, is off the house, but this one is the next one. And there's a great branch node right about chest height on me. So that's where I'm going to take that one off. So again, we're not really doing this to reduce the height. We're doing this to get the plant material off the house. So now there's nothing touching the house. The height has been reduced a little bit. We may have a question of, what do we want to do with this? It's growing out over the plant next to it. And if I follow that one, it has no branch node. That one is all the way back here at the ground. So that's gone. And then we'll let this one go for a while. And the question then is, what about this one? It's got a branch node, so I don't have to go all the way back to the ground. I can come back to the branch node and take that one. Now we've cleaned out both width and a little bit of height. And I think, I always keep finding a little bit of dead stuff, but I think we're basically done with this shrub now. So this is the sweet shrub, Carolina allspice, native plant, a fast grower. Trust me, this is going to fill back in. It may look very different from the way it looked at the beginning of this video, but you come back next summer and you'll say, are you sure you pruned this shrub? So I hope you learned something today, and we thank you for joining us.